Hello and welcome to all you Aries people. Welcome for your monthly horoscope for Aries for July 2015. There are, I think, three things that are really interesting during the month of July. And that is the square happening between Jupiter and Saturn. So a square, which means tension, which means there is a need for balance again. Secondly, Venus going retrograde and conjuncting with Jupiter. And last but not least, a lot of energy in your fourth house, a lot of energy in Cancer. But let's get started with the most important thing, I think, is the clash between Jupiter and Saturn. So in general, whenever these two planets clash, Jupiter, which is about breaking up the boundaries, which is about exploring, which is about meaning in your life, faith in your life, belief, optimism, that clashes with Saturn, which is the restrictions of the day-to-day life, the discipline, which is the hard work, which is your structure, your morals. So whenever they clash in a square, it means that you need to have the two. You need to have a bit of optimism, you need to have a bit of pessimism, but not going one way or the other, or you're going into being too bipolar. So it's about, yes, I want to explore, but I don't want to be reckless. And it's about, yes, I want to be serious in my life, but I don't want to get depressed. So it's that kind of energy. And we all have that. Where does it apply for you? Well, the structure and the limitations and the hard work is in your 8th and 9th house. So Saturn was in Sagittarius in your 9th house, but goes back a little bit into the 8th house. So actually it's in the two houses, you could say. You can make your interpretation like that. The Saturn is about your rules and your structures. So you have been dealing a lot with how you can structure, how you can manage your own fears, how you can manage your maybe shared finances, with the one that you're living with. Maybe you have been managing your own psychological understanding and trying to figure out what you're all about on a very deep level. And you have also known your limitations. You also know what is too much for you. And you also have learned that when there is a crisis, you can master that. That's the Saturn in the 8th house and in the 9th house. And a little bit in the 9th house, it means that it's your morals. You've been working on your morals as well, and will be for a long time with Saturn and Sagittarius. That's the Saturn working, and that clashes with the Jupiter and the Venus. So where's Jupiter and Venus for you? It's in the 5th house. It's in the most... Venus has its joy in the 5th house. And this is very reasonable because Venus is about pleasure. It's about enjoyment, and Jupiter enlarges that. And the 5th house is about pleasure. It's your sexuality, it's romance, it's children, it's your creativity, your self-expression from the heart, being very honest and open. You Aries people, that you have such a need to do that. So, and that clashes in a way. So what could it mean? This is difficult to say in general horoscopes, but you could, I try to divide it into two kind of Aries people. You've got the Aries people, which is probably the most of you, who are very, because Aries is mostly optimistic and very enthusiastic as well. It's a very enthusiastic sign. So if you are someone who is every now and then a bit reckless, if you say, yes, I recognize and I resonate with that, I am sometimes a bit too reckless, sometimes a bit too over the top, then Saturn will knock on your door. Then this Saturn in your 8th and 9th house is showing you, what about your limits? What about, do you have enough money? Do you have enough shared resources? Are you being a bit, taking responsibility? Are you having a bit of moral there? And because the 5th house, maybe you are a bit too much doing the 5th house. Maybe flirting around or whatever. And maybe then, whilst you're doing it, and maybe very pleasant, Saturn will knock on your door. It's that internal critic that's knocking on your door and saying, and nagging you. And it's there for reasons. So it's trying to get those two planets into balance. If you say, no, I am an Aries woman or man, and I know my limits, I know my responsibilities, and I'm quite hard on myself sometimes, and sometimes I'm a bit too serious in life, then the other thing applies for you. Then what your advice should be is get a bit more, loosen up a little bit. Enjoy yourself a little bit more. Get into that Venus and Jupiter in the 5th house. Have some romance, have some fun. And if you're in a relationship, put a log on the fire and try to enjoy yourselves a bit more and try to relax a bit more. Do fun things with your children, with your loved one. And if you are single, go out. Go out to theater, to discos, cafes, whatever. But enjoy life, and because there's a big potential there. Certainly if you're single, and if you are, if you are an Aries who's single and who's a bit too strict, this is really showing, go out there. You will meet someone probably, or even someone from your past. Why is that? Because now I'll get into a bit more of the Venus retrograde. So as from the 25th to the and a long time afterwards, Venus goes retrograde, and it's very long into that 5th house of yours. So maybe someone, a relationship could come from the past, and you are re-evaluating it. You are maybe, and that gives you a good feeling. Maybe there was some unfinished business with someone, or maybe with a child. Maybe you need to review how you interact with your children, and that gives you this understanding, and you do it differently after when Venus goes direct again. So it's a kind of when Venus goes retrograde is a reflection in that house that it goes retrograde. So it's not a bad thing, but it's a time of standing still. If you are involved into a new romance, do it gradually. Do it step by step. It's difficult to say don't fall, is it? But try to do your best to do it slowly but surely, rather than throwing yourself. And this will be again applicable for those Aries people who are already quite impulsive. So it's not necessarily a bad thing at all. And Venus will also be dancing around a very known fixed star, which is called Regulus. So when Regulus is all about ambition. So you are going to get ambitious with that 5th house. You're going to find that ambition with maybe a creative project. And again, it's very good to you have certainly the green light to go to start a new project, to start maybe a new business, but again, keep the feet on the ground, and then you can't go really wrong. But again, that will be the energy to keep those feet on the ground for some of you. Last but not least, there is also a lot of energy in Cancer, which is the bottom of your chart. And it's all male energy. It's Mars, your ruler, being there. It's the Sun being there. Also Mercury, the planet of communication, being there. So a lot of energy in your 4th house. And your 4th house is your home life. It can be your family situation, your parents, or maybe one parent. So you're going to become more active towards parents and in your house. So it can mean that maybe a bit more quarreling there, maybe a bit more rearranging the furniture, maybe doing some cleanups, I don't know. But really doing some work there. And it's good as long as you don't overdo with the energy, because especially towards other people. So use it to do things that you normally don't want to do, and because it gives you the energy now. But don't use it to get arrogant with a parent, or to get arrogant with people who live around you, because then it will come back like a boomerang. So a very interesting month for Aries people. For some of you, especially the ones who are a bit impulsive, it can be a bit of a challenge there. but not one that you can't deal with, I think. I wish you a very good month. I thank you so much for all your support, the ordering of readings, the sharing on Facebook and Twitter, or the thumbs up and all the comments that you give me, the support that you give me. Keep on doing that. I really appreciate it. And I wish you a very good month. Have a good month. Bye-bye.